This is a much better place to work. And I said I was coming here today, and she goes, watch out for the rattlesnakes. And I was like, wait, what?
So I interviewed Bill Burr, and he was one of my absolute favorites.
You interviewed him, like,
Yeah.
one-on-one? Oh
Yeah.
my God. We recently just unfortunately had a situation. It was probably one of the worst that I've seen outside. A girl jumped out of our second story window.
Like Erica said, we've been friends for a really long time. And so last year we booked an Airbnb and we called it Spiritual Reset.
Is there anything that you guys want to say to your future selves when you guys look back on this beautiful memory that you have?
I will say that we are all on the cusp of greatness. We just don't know what that greatness is yet. We'll see it.
From the rolling hills of Kentucky to the hidden gems of Colorado, what if the real magic of hosting isn't just about providing a bed, but it's about creating memories that last a lifetime? I have some Airbnb guests from Kentucky staying at my property right now, and they think that they're just here for a typical vacation. But I'm about to surprise them with something completely unexpected. We're leaving the Airbnb behind and heading to one of Colorado's most stunning hidden locations. I have no clue what the reaction will be, but I'm about to find out if a simple gesture can turn strangers into friends and a regular trip into an unforgettable experience. Let's do it. Hi, Melissa.
That's me.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Brandon, mind if I come in?
Sure.
Awesome.
Most of the gang.
Hi, guys. Hi, I'm Brandon. Nice to meet you.
Erica, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Brandon, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
How's it going? How's your stay going so far?
Great.
It's been great.
Yeah?
It's been nice.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I've stayed in Airbnbs who are not as well appointed as this. And I was telling them, I was like, the bathroom alone makes me very happy because there's hooks to hang your clothes, enough room for the towels, enough, linens provided. I thought that was like A1 for me anyway, because I was like, if the bathroom isn't right, it kind of throws off your day.
Mhm.
And that, really like served well because everything is like, I've got somewhere to hang my clothes. I've got plenty of counter space to fold, put makeup and whatever.
So all the little details.
The little details.
Yeah,
are
the
really
dedication
nice.
to the theme is really cute. I like that
Yes.
quite a lot, especially like some of the little details. But even to the front door, the very front door has the lock with the and I was like, how do they do that? So there's been a lot of those kinds of questions where like, how do they do that? How do they figure that out? And I have definitely been in the hot tub and it's been amazing. So for my old back, so I really like that.
There's been a lot of room for us to sprawl out and not be on top of each other, which as much as we love one another, sometimes we just want our space. And I took the smallest room because I'm the best friend of all.
Yeah.
So they all got the big beds
Cool.
because I'm awesome like
They're
that.
so
So
I will say one thing that I've had to do is I've had to work while I was here some, and the internet's been perfect. Like I've been able to be on video calls and all of the stuff that I needed to do for work. It was really comfortable, like a comfortable place to sit for 8 hours
Yeah.
while we were here. So that's something that if you have to come here and you have to come here for work and you want a nice place to stay or your family's around, you need to work from here. It's really easy to do.
awesome. All right, Melissa. So when I talked to you on the phone, I told you that today I want to take you guys to a hidden gem. So as you guys know, Colorado is known for its beautiful scenery and awesome hiking trails. So today I decided I'm going to take you to Roxborough State Park where you guys are going to see just that. You guys ready to go?
Ready.
I think so.
I'm so excited. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, thank you. Like Erica said, we've been friends for a really long time. And we all have kids. And so last year we booked an Airbnb in Ohio, like a couple hours drive from where we live. And we called it Spiritual Reset. And it was just, I had to make up a funny name so I could annoy my husband with it. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going to be going on Spiritual Reset.
Your search on Airbnb, like how'd you find Alice in Littleton?
So Melissa is our resident travel expert. Melissa travels all the time.
Yes.
She's always looking for deals and flights and everything. So she'll have to give you the origin story, but we trust her with our booking every single time.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, so how did I find the Airbnb? When you have 4 different personalities, you have to kind of balance all of them. So I tease that Erica is probably the most bougie among us, and I'm probably the least bougie among us. So I have to remember that even though I'm willing to stay somewhere that's pretty like bare bones, I mean, even my husband yells at me. He's like, Melissa, you could book a slightly nicer hotel when we travel places. So to balance everyone out, I always look for something that has a lot of amenities, things that we're going to enjoy, but is also not super expensive. And I can't remember if I had a price point in or if I was just looking for a good distance between here and Red Rocks and a decent price point and a good number of bedrooms, because the place that we stayed at in Ohio, I didn't do enough of due diligence to see whether or not we would 100% be comfortable. And it wasn't bad. It was just, I slept on a mattress on the floor because I didn't want to climb into a bunk bed and have to get back out at like 1 o'clock when I woke up having to pee, because I've reached that age. So I think it was, 4 bedrooms, good sized beds, a nice space where we could all retreat to or whatever. The hot tub was a bonus. And yeah, I landed on Alice in Littleton, and I showed it to them and they agreed that it was all right.
Were there other places that came up in your search that you were considering? It was the amenities that really sold you on the listing, it sounds like, the space itself. But were you guys considering another house?
I think Erica had sent us a couple when she was looking, and when I looked at where they were location-wise and like price-wise, I started poking around and looking, and that's when I found it. So I don't think there were any in this area that were comparable. I think it was just, and like when I found it, I was like, okay, look, there's a it's committed to a theme. It looks like fun. It looks comfortable. What do y'all think? And they looked at the pictures and they were like, yeah.
Very cool. So you book the Airbnbs for the group. Have you stayed in a themed Airbnb before in some of the other locations you've been?
No, I don't think, we've not stayed in a themed one together, right? And then
We did the Ohio was shipping containers, so that was really fun because it was a bunch of different shipping containers together. But yeah, we wanted our own rooms, so this helped here.
yeah, I don't think it was like themed the same way.
Not at all. And I've never stayed in a themed one, and I love it. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
It adds character,
Character, yeah.
literally.
Well, and my daughter has a tendency to look at what we're doing, and she was looking at pictures and she got mad. Why do you get to stay here? I want to go. Like, we can always go back.
Okay, so it's funny because I have a couple coworkers that live here, and I said I was coming here today, and she goes, "Watch out for the rattlesnakes," and I was like, "Wait, what?" But I'm excited. Like, I hope we get to see some of these from afar.
So what is it that you do for work? Because I noticed that in the car here, you brought your laptop with you. You were concerned as like on this nature hike that you might have to answer a call. So you doing like some top secret work?
Oh, not that. It's not. I'm the director of sales operations for a technology and telephony company. I work with sales, and today is May 30th, and it's the end of the month. So sales, closing, end of the month, I just have to be available. I'll be available, but this is a much better place to work if I have to work than behind a desk. So I brought it with me. I can make it work in nature.
You're on your lunch break now.
Technically.
Yeah, not a bad place to do remote work, huh?
No. And the Airbnb has had really good internet.
So have you guys been feeling the elevation since you got here?
A little bit. I was here a month ago for work, and I had to present for several hours indoors. And while I was presenting, I was like, why am I getting so out of breath? Like, ugh. And I realized later that I wasn't drinking enough water. And so as long as you're drinking water and staying hydrated, it gets better. But if you're you know, used to being at 400 feet sea level, and you're now 5,280 feet above sea level, or at Red Rock, 6,400 feet above sea level. That does take a little getting used to. So we just take our time, and as we've been hiking around or going to different places, we've been like just taking our time, and that's nice because then you get a little bit longer to enjoy the beauty whenever you stop and take a break.
Erica, so you said that you wrote a novel when you were 14. You're still writing novels?
Well, I have not written novels since I was 14. So when I was 14, that was when the summer that I say that writing chose me, because I don't know what came over me, but I was like, this has to get done. So I sat and spent every day writing by hand this novel, 356 pages, I think it was 300 some pages that I wrote, notebook paper, blue erasable ink.
Do you still have this?
No. First off, here's the thing. So when you write something in erasable ink, nobody tells you that. 5 years later, it evaporates. So there are whole holes in the pages that evaporated that I have no idea. And anyway, the pages that were left were so terrible. It was, it was 14-year-old fantasy. I did every job but what I should have been doing. Like I worked in research and development. I worked with kids. I worked with psych kids. So, and then finally, like every job was just, like when you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you run into walls. And those walls like push you towards what you're supposed to be doing. And so I kept doing it. And finally I was like, I am going to freelance. So I freelanced for 11 years on my own. I did really well. I worked with some big companies in Kentucky.
So how do you go about finding, like freelancing and finding clients?
So a lot of what I do is just through like referrals. So once you have satisfied clients, they will refer you to other people. That's like your biggest source of clients. And then I just talk to people like, do you need copy? What kind of copy? Like you have Airbnbs, you need copy to talk about those places. Then I would be a person, we would talk about the vibe of the place, what kind of copy, what kind of vibe you want your copy to have, and then we go through some drafts and then you get your copy. You know what I mean? That's sort of the process with most basic copywriting freelancing.
How do you feel about AI, like with that whole industry? What's going to happen with that?
I think that I know, Jen, I think that people that rely on AI are setting themselves up for a world of hurt at some point, because writers, one, are going to start really getting serious about their intellectual property. And AI pulls from all of that intellectual property. So it's just stealing words to put together into some conglomeration of, AI speak. The other part of it is that there's nobody to proof that AI stuff. And so a lot of it is nonsense. So when a real person reads it, it reads like it has no emotion. It doesn't inspire or encourage people to act. So you're not going to get, like, especially in like marketing, when you need somebody to do an action, and AI is not going to give you, because they don't have an emotion. It's flat. There are so many mistakes. The like sentences sometimes are just completely erratic. I do not like AI, but I think that people are going to learn their lesson and then look to real writers to fix it, which a lot of companies are doing now. They want you to work with their AI to train it. I'm like, yeah, you know how much that's going to cost you if you want me to train your AI.
So yeah, AI doesn't have the ability to write about experience.
Right.
Right, but you do. So as a writer, how are you approaching that? Are you doing your own research on that? You're working with the client and then trying to get that first person perspective to really put that juice in the story. Is that
right? Exactly. I talk to them. If I can, if the client is near me, then we meet and we'll talk. Really, it depends on the piece that we're writing. But even when I'm doing like interviewing somebody for a journalistic piece, I like to write about sort of how the vibe of the conversation is, the room that we're in, if it's like, an interesting coffee house or something. Yeah, I'm selling an experience or telling an experience and not just an interview. Like I was telling her was it with you I was talking about Bill Burr? No.
I love Bill Burr.
So,
tell me about Bill Burr. What's going on with Bill Burr?
To see him.
So I interviewed Bill Burr, and he was one of my absolute favorites.
You interviewed him like one-on-one? Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And he told me, Bill Burr, my buddy.
Bill Burr told her.
Yeah, Bill Burr told me. Well, he said that my interview was his favorite in 5 years that he had been doing interviews. And I did my work on that one. Because I was like, there are certain people that you can't just bullshit through an interview. Like there are most days as a journalist, you're like, you can ask them the basic questions, get what you need, and get out. a lot of celebrities are not like that. Bill Burr especially is not a person you want to go in sideways, ask him the same fucking questions he's answered 100 times, because he's gonna get. I just knew I
I'll
was
cut you a
gonna
new
run,
one.
yeah, I just knew I was gonna run into a bad scene that way. So ended up did good research, had some good ass questions, and then we sort of realized, like, he's married to a black woman, my husband is a white man, and so we had a sidebar off the record about our married lives, and it was really just fun, and just cool to like sort of get the vibe, and it really gave me a chance to sort of see him outside of Bill Burr,
Yes,
and
yes.
to talk about it on a more human level, I think. Which I really love that interview with Bill Burr. That's one of my top favorites.
Alice in Littleton is the last Airbnb that I've booked. I've been looking for, I travel with my family. We're doing lots of stuff. I've been looking off-site from Airbnb, mainly lately because of I guess he's one of the former founders. He's a founder. He's on the board and that's all, but he joined the Doge cabinet and he's like one of Elon's good buddies. And
So you're taking a stance.
yeah, it's so gross, so gross. There's only so much I can do, but I can make decisions with my wallet. So,
Who you support financially?
yeah. So, and I'm sure that if I dug deep into like some of these other booking sites, I would find that they also have unsavory characters. But I have found when I find places I like, I just Google search and see if they show up on other platforms or see if I can find like a direct booking. I understand everybody's side hustle and trying to make money or whatever, but some of I know the platform fees keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And
Yes. The service fees, guests pay them like the most with service fees. That's why direct bookings, if you go directly through the company website, a lot of Airbnb listings will have their company information somewhere you can usually find, or you can look in the host profile. And then if you go to those direct booking websites, there's no service fees that they charge.
So I didn't know that. So that's really helpful because we actually had a real conversation about booking after we had already booked the Alice Littleton due to the sort of, speaking with our wallet. I'm curious how hosts deal with neighborhoods who aren't particularly interested in them being there. And I'm curious if your 9:30 to 7 a.m. policy is because of that.
We want to be respectful of our
you can't
neighbors.
Control.
Yeah.
You can't control the people in the house. You can't control that it's for quiet moms. So
Yes.
yeah.
So that is something that is a little bit of a setback with our listing. We have a hot tub space. It's a great outdoor space. You obviously want to go sit out there, and you probably want to do it. You're out at Red Rocks at concerts. You want to come back late at night, and you want to sit in the hot tub. And I totally get that. The problem is that, and this isn't just for the listings that we have here in Colorado, it's like everywhere, is that we want to be respectful towards neighbors. We recently just unfortunately had a situation. It was probably one of the worst that I've seen outside. There was, I'm gonna keep it a little PG.
Yeah.
A girl jumped out of our second story window, and she drunk on drugs or something, and she free fell. We got it on the camera, like you could just see her body just kind of, going down. No. This was in Pittsburgh.
Oh wow.
She free fell 2 stories there, and luckily there was a grill. And I don't know how nothing worse didn't happen here.
The word luckily there was
Yes,
a grill.
yes.
That whole phrase
Yeah.
is wild. Damn.
She like landed on it perfectly where it smashed the grill. It broke her fall, and she and by the way, she didn't have any clothes on. No clothes.
Buck naked. All right.
Yeah, so no shoes, nothing. She landed on the cement down there on the grill, and she basically like went out into the alleyway in the city, like with just a towel.
Oh.
It was crazy. So that was at 4:30 in the morning, and she was screaming at the top of her lungs. I get it. You don't want to live next to an Airbnb where that kind of stuff is going on. It's absolutely horrible. Sometimes it happens though, like we can't control every guest.
everything.
We have some really amazing people that are very respectful of the house and the neighborhood, and they're conscious of that stuff, but there's also just like a lot of kids or people that just don't care, and that's a part of the game as well. So we want to try to be as respectful as possible for the neighbors. We have kids that live around us, if they're looking out the window and somebody's naked at 4:30 in the morning screaming and they're sure they have school the next day, we want to be conscious of that. We have a responsibility as hosts, and we want to set an example. So we just have a cutoff time there that we want to be respectful for the neighbors. So that's why we do it.
I mean, we were aware. We did not get back in time to go out and put the cover on. So we were like, oh, do we, like,
We just made it. We made an executive decision when we got it on this morning. So
That's a big no-no. I'm kicking you guys out.
I was like, it says if we go outside.
we literally had a whole conversation about it. So we were like, I have a pool at home, so I was like, it's fine. It'll be fine for a day. There's no storms coming. So
A lot of people end up doing that. It's obviously terrible for the hot tub, and it costs a lot of money, like with the electrical bill.
yeah, I apologize.
It's fine. It happens. Like when I first started hosting, there was all kinds of stuff like that, and I used to get like really upset about it, but it's a part of the game. You guys seem to be like, I like to use the word conscious.
Yes, yeah.
Like very conscious individuals that, like, I can just tell just by talking to you guys, like your outlook on the world and how you view that. Not everybody has been fortunate enough to, I don't know where you want to factor that into, experience and go through a bunch of experiences and culture, and maybe they suffer from trauma, and that creates a lot of unconscious behavior as they grow up, just like psychology.
Yeah.
And so they don't realize a lot of these things, depending on the environment that they're raised into. But we love having you guys that, when you're a conscious guest and you guys are aware of this kind of stuff, because my wife and I are just like that. We can go to hotels and stuff, like my wife actually like strip the bed and start the laundry and like go that far to like assist, because like we understand that it's a pain, right? And we don't want to be a burden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm always the person, like in a hotel or even an Airbnb, when it says just leave the towels on the floor, I leave them on the sink. And I'm like, maybe that's bad, but I'm like, I don't want to bend over and pick them up off the floor. So I want to have them at like waist height to make it easier to scoop up and grab.
Them all in the sink.
We have a washer, so I'm just planning to put it in the washer before I leave.
The
And
washer
just,
has
like,
been nice because we could pack lighter, but also like again, we said we're three moms. We can go home with all of our clothes clean if we need to.
All right, guys, thank you so much for coming on this hike with me here today. What did you guys think of everything?
I love the area. I love the being here with my friends, and I'm excited to have been shown this place because it's breathtaking.
It is really beautiful.
I'm going to tease you for a minute and say on camera, like I said, you can tell you're from here because you said it was a flat hike, and there was a slight hill at the end. It was not flat.
I had to lie to get you out here. It was worth it, right?
I get it. I understand. I will forgive you.
This is gorgeous, and it's one of those things where you think about who you are. Like, I just think about like the body that I'm in, and like the limits that I think I have on it, and then just sort of pushing past some of those this weekend with Red Rocks even, and coming up here, just like finally, like I feel like I can breathe.
Yeah.
Right. So it was a less like strenuous, like even though the anticipation of the elevation is like, that's such a rhyme. The anticipation gets me before the actual like walk gets me. It's like, oh God, I'm not gonna be able to do this. But just pushing on and doing it is really, it's totally worth it.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, we're finally acclimated and we go home tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
Forever, we're capturing a moment in time here together, and it's something really amazing. Is there anything that you guys want to say to your future selves when you guys look back on this beautiful memory that you have?
I will say that we are all on the cusp of greatness. We just don't know what that greatness is yet.
Bullshit.
I will say that this reaffirms that I'm sticking to my core belief system, and part of my core belief system is friendships, and that really is solidified in these types of moments.
When we know, like, yeah, I feel like we squabble like sisters, so that's how I know that we're really good friends and we chose the right people, because I love you guys just as much as my sisters, and I don't have to, because I'm related to them forever, but I could drop you in a hot minute.
But you couldn't.
But never, we would never let you.
Like, that's not even, can't
You're
happen.
stuck with us.